Okay, I wanted to show y'all how to start on the shading with the marker, the cup of water, and the brush, and I have to have my printed picture here so I could see where the shadows are and where the highlights are. So I've already kind of started on here, but I applied some more marker, and then I'm also going to have my paper towel. If I add too much water or something, I'm going to get my brush wet, and I'm going to start getting the marker pigment wet. And since it's water-based, it's going to spread. And you could see a gradation where it's darker here, more of a medium value, and then there's a shadow here too, but it's a lighter value, and then it's really white here. I actually drew with a pencil right here the line where I kind of saw the shadow stop, so I know where to stop. So I'm going to use this like watercolor and bring it out. If I need more water, I get more water. If I add too much water, I could dry it off on my paper towel. So this is a good first layer. Now I could let this dry, and in a second I'll add some more pigment and make it darker right here. And I'm going to keep this area a little wider. However, if you see right here, this part is dark. And in a second, I'll add this so I can still see the shape of the bone, because the shadow behind it is going to make it pop out. And then right here, if I want to lightly use that pigment so I could get the rest of the shape of the bone, that's fine, but I still don't want to completely add value here where the highlight is. But I might lightly add a little outline so I could still see the bone. Okay, I'm going to show you how to add another layer to get this darker area a little darker. I allowed this to dry because if this was still wet and I added the marker, it would just start spreading. The ink would start spreading. So I'm going to add another layer here, and I see the darker shadow stops right about where that bone is. My picture's a tiny bit inaccurate, but we're going to go with it. So I just added an outline. I want to build it up slowly. And then I'm going to get my brush wet again. Dried it off too much, so I'm going to get more water. And I have to rub a little bit to get the pigment loose and moving, but you don't want to over rub because then the paper is going to start flaking. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to add one more darker layer right here. Okay, firstly I'm learning from my mistakes, so I actually got another brush, which will use these brushes that have the softer bristles, and the flat heads help with the lines. I added a lot of pigment right here because if you look at my picture, that area is dark. I also added a line like right here and a little bit going over here. I was very careful how I placed it because if you look at this picture, it is darker here, like a line, and then it kind of gradiates out. And then I also wanted to show you how when you add too much pigment, you can kind of erase a little bit of the pigment. So I'm going to get some water and show you how to erase real quick. I feel like this has a little bit too much pigment, so I'm going to add the water, and then I'm going to dab it with a paper towel. You can only erase so much, but that will take away some of the pigment. And then right here, I'm going to come in with the water. I'm actually going to turn my paper around because I'm right-handed and it'll be easier for me. And I want to keep kind of looking at my picture to see where everything is and how dark it needs to be. And then I'll add some water here too. You do need to keep adding everything kind of slowly because it's easier to add more pigment than it is to take it away. And I might actually not rub this in completely and let some of the marks show because I kind of like the marks. And I'm just going to let that dry. Once again, I feel like this area right here could be a little bit darker. Real quick, I'll show you. I might add just a little bit more of this. And it needs to go all the way down, but I'll just show you right here. Get my water, kind of rub it in. And don't be afraid to make the dark areas dark because that contrast is what's going to make it pop out from the page when you hang it up.